What's up, guys? This is our first episode of Life Beyond Sunday podcast. Today I got my guys.
Parson.
Hey, Davis.
My name's Harrison. And today, for our first ever episode, we will be introducing ourselves, going over our testimonies, and just asking each other questions about each other's testimonies and just why we're doing what we're doing and like why we started this in the first place. Because anyone can do a podcast, but how do we stand out for it?
We really want our viewers to understand what we stand for and what our meaning is behind this podcast. We're really wanting to tell people our stories in this first episode and leading into other episodes, like how we can share the gospel. That's what we've been really tugging on our hearts recently, and how we can get out there, our comfort zone, to be able to share with you guys.
That's right. And if I'm not mistaken, I've heard your testimony, but I haven't heard yours or yours.
No.
So this will be my first time hearing y'all's.
Yep.
This is the first time I've concocted a testimony.
Yeah, me too.
So,
And we've learned a lot about each other over the years. I've been knowing, let's say, Hayden for
2, 3 years.
2, 3 years. Harrison, about 2 years, I'd say.
coming up
Parson,
3 years,
maybe about a year.
A year.
So I'm excited to learn more about you guys,
That's right.
because I feel like there's still a lot on
I feel like we've already grown like a lot together just in the past
Absolutely.
2 months alone. But I feel like this will be even further than that. But going ahead and going into I guess the testimony part, we're going to start with Carson. Somebody right here, and see what he's got.
Sure. Happy to share it. So, I think Hayden heard my testimony at Bonfire Night for young adults, and Davis was there too, so we just want to share each other's. And Harrison was there, my dad was also there. And so, my testimony is kind of simple. There's nothing really crazy to it. But I was here, born and raised here in Florence, went to a Christian school all my life from 4th grade to 12th grade. Got saved whenever I was in 1st grade and got baptized whenever I was in 4th grade. Then I continued to grow my faith at Christian school and just in everyday life. But in junior year, my granddad got diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. It kind of hit me a little hard. And so I kind of drifted away from God. I was going to church and kind of reading my Bible, but not really. So in 2020 is whenever he got diagnosed, and COVID happened, and then me and one of my close friends ended up getting extremely close to each other and bonding over what was happening. And that July, he said these 2 words, and they stick with me every single day. Me and him were talking about my granddad's cancer report because it came back, and the cancer was still there, but it was just slowly disappearing, and there was only a little bit left. And I have seen God heal people before, and we believed that God was going to heal them. So my buddy told me, well, you can thank God for healing them. Those 2 words. Bookmark that in your head, in your mind. Thank God. And so a month later in August, the day of my junior ring ceremony, my granddad got admitted to the hospital. We had no idea what was wrong. And that Thursday night, come home and find out that we don't think my granddad's going to make it. Friday morning, we find out that the doctors are refusing any further treatment, which basically means that there's nothing left that they can do.
Yeah.
And Saturday morning, we got a phone call from my mom and grandma were up there because COVID regulations, we weren't allowed to go see them during COVID. And so they called my dad, and my dad broke the news to me and my siblings that he got healed, but not here on earth, not like I wanted him to get healed, but he got healed in heaven. Like he's no longer in pain and suffering. And so that December, Christmas, I got a study Bible, like a teenager study Bible. And so I started reading the whole New Testament took me a couple months to start reading the whole New Testament. Didn't have a plan, just read the whole New Testament. And then a couple of years, kind of continued to read my Bible almost every single day, but still wasn't living the life like I was supposed to be living. I got involved in the wrong friends. We were not the best people in the world. We were doing some bad things, not like drugs or anything, but alcohol and vaping with them and stuff like that. And then senior year, I graduated from high school, and then I went to tech for a year. And after my granddad passed away, I started working here in the ministry, helping my grandma out and stuff like that. And then went to tech for a year for electrician. Then over the summer, I wanted to go to real estate. I had no idea that I wanted to go to real estate. Just did it because it was something that I've always wanted to do. So I went to real estate school. Then January, I was able to finally take the exams to be able to be a licensed real estate agent. But during that time, God opened up the door and He shut the real estate one, but I didn't realize it at the time. So I was up here, and one of our volunteers was stepping down from leading the 3rd and 4th grade Bible study. And so that involved me stepping in and taking over that group of kids. And so I had no idea what God was doing. And just mental health was kind of a weird thing. There would be moments where I would be like a normal person, then anxiety, depression would kind of hit a little bit. And so we were doing that. And then in March 2024, I felt led to share why Barabbas is in the Bible here to the kids here. And not only that, but I also posted on Facebook too, and it just took off. I went completely off. And I was like, this is not something that I want to do. Like, speaking in front of people is not my go-to at all. Like, I hate doing it. But there's just something about preaching the gospel and sharing that, hey, there's a God that loves you so much that He sent His one and only Son to die on the cross for you. And so March, I applied for Liberty University the day after Easter, got accepted that Thursday, and then one of my high school friends passed away that Friday. So that was kind of a big moment that I wasn't expecting.
God, that's a lot.
Yeah. And it was just terrible. It just kind of went downhill. Not really a lot, but it was kind of the same as the beginning. Like, I was close. I wasn't really close to my faith. I could have been a lot closer like I am now. But I continued to grow my faith. And then in September, I found out that one of my favorite pastors that I listened to at the gym, because whenever I started getting called to ministry, I used to listen to a lot of rap at the gym. So I decided to drift away from that side and just listen to sermons on my phone, just getting some inspiration from these kids to how to spread the gospel to them and like what to say. And so September 10th, I figured out that one of my favorite pastors to listen to, Jonathan Pluto, was speaking in Columbia. So me and one of my friends went, and it blew me away. He was just talking about what's holding you back from your faith. And he was like, if you were to die right now on a scale from 1 to 10, how sure are you that you would go to heaven? And I was kind of like an 8 or 9-ish. And then I left that night being a solid 10 because there were still some things that I was dealing with, like mental health, addiction with getting drunk, pornography, all that stuff, that were still holding me back. But that night, I decided to just lay it all at the feet of Jesus. Sometimes we forget that Jesus' feet is a doorway to our freedom and salvation. Speaking of that, I have a couple of verses. So speaking of Jesus' feet being the doorway, there's a famous picture of Jesus at the Last Supper painted by Leonardo da Vinci. And it was painted with one of his new techniques. He painted it with egg yolks. So it started flaking off. And then it went through another guy's reign, and his people threw stones at the disciples, basically chipped the paint off. And there's these monks that were in the building that it was at, and they got tired of walking all the way around to get to the other side of the building, so they decided to make a doorway, but they had to cut out the part of the painting. Part of the painting is what they had to cut out, and the part of the painting that they cut out was Jesus' feet. So there's literally a door at the feet of Jesus.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. Parson, I really appreciate that. Your testimony is very powerful. And I want you to think that you don't think your testimony isn't powerful, because it talks about in the Word that one of the most powerful things we can talk about is our testimony.
And our testimonies don't have to be these crazy
No, it
stories.
doesn't.
No, absolutely not.
It just simply, hey, I was struggling, and God
That's right.
led me away from struggling.
Because everybody has a different way they encounter it.
That's
Like,
right.
you can sum up how a a person is going to interact with the Lord. You can't say, hey, you're going to go through this, this, and this. And this is how you're going to meet Jesus.
Well, that's the thing. Our God is a very personal God.
Mm-hmm.
Relationship is his biggest thing. That's all he asks.
Yeah.
So the way I experience Jesus, the way you experience Jesus, is two
different stories.
Yeah. I did have a question there. When you said that you were struggling with your faith, was it anger? Was it like when you said you were drifting away?
It was kind of doubt, like
Gotcha.
where are you, God?
That's
That's part of
How could
my
you
story.
let this happen?
Yeah, basically.
I feel like a lot of times in our lives, we're wondering, like, how can God help me?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we should be asking Him, how can I help you, God?
That's right. 100%.
And oftentimes, doubt is often a pathway to a deeper, more meaningful faith.
Yeah.
Sometimes we think that doubt is this bad thing, but doubt doesn't make you a bad person. It proves that you are a broken human individual.
You're so right.
I would say kind of off that, I kind of relate how you introduced, like you grew up in the church basically. So I feel like a lot of people who do grow up in the church, they have this like, I guess, big image of God, like, oh, he's going to be there for me, like throughout everything. We're going to make everything good. But it's like, we're so young, we don't even comprehend that to the point where something does go bad. Then that's when we start, like you said, doubting. And then we're like, well, this thing I've been believing in since I was like, from when I could even concept it, like it had first thoughts. It's like, now it's like, all that's going down.
Yeah,
But then
everything changes.
on the offside, whenever people aren't growing up in the church and all that, and they just think, oh, God's just this amazing dude that just lets everything happen. But then like they experience like, you know, like all the evils of the world, like murder, cheating, all this other stuff. And it's like, how did they go through that when we grew up in the church and they didn't? You know?
Yeah.
One of the number one questions that non-believers will say is, if God's so loving, why does he allow bad things happen to people? Well, that phrase only happened once in human history, when a man named Jesus endured the cross. He was the only perfect human being to ever live, and he endured bad things so he could live for Jesus.
Yes.
He was the good.
Speaking about church, I think a lot of people think like church makes you a Christian, but like going to church doesn't make you more of a Christian than sticking your hand in a microwave saying I'm a future roll. Like, church does not save you. What saves you is the blood of Jesus.
Yeah.
And I've went through that, I guess, which is segue into my testimony now. But I personally kind of went through that where like, oh, I go to church, I grew up in church, like you know, I'm a Christian, this, that, and the third. But it was like deep down, I guess if anyone did ask me a tough question like that, like, why do good things happen to bad people, you know, stuff like that. But it's just like,
It's one of the things, I believe in God, but I don't obey
yeah,
God.
exactly. And I thought like you said, that question you asked, like, how confident are you on a scale of 1 to 10? Like, you would go to heaven if you died right now. I feel like if you asked me back then, I'd be like, bro, I don't know, like 3.
You know,
It's like I believe, but it was like beyond that. I wasn't like this Christian guy or whatever. But God, look at my notes right now.
Of course, and also one more thing, before Harrison gets into his testimony, I want you to tell the viewers what you do right now for work. I want you to explain.
oh yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
So I am currently a senior at Liberty University pursuing a bachelor's in Christian ministry. I'm also one of the directors here of a local ministry called East Florence Mission, the same ministry that I got involved with after my granddad passed away. And I've continued to see God move through these kids. Like last Easter, we had 8 kids get saved, which was like breathtaking. I literally like fell to my knees. I was like, God, like, you are the most awesome experience. Like, it was so amazing. So I'm also part of the leadership teams of young adults and youth at Compassion Church.
That's right. So,
Thank you, Marcel.
right.
I just wanted them to all know
Yeah.
what you do. Your back.
Just get some background.
Yeah.
That's right.
But yeah, like I was saying, like I grew up in the church and everything, but I wasn't really like that faithful. And I remember a lot of times I tell myself, I'll get deep in my faith when I'm older. Like I'll take it more serious when I'm older, like when I have kids or like whenever I have a career and everything. But I would really just go to Sunday service like with my family, like they drag me there and I'd go there. But like beyond that, nothing really. Wouldn't even like listen to music, like anything at all.
Yeah.
And I felt like going from that, one thing I struggled with a lot when I was around that time was like I felt like I didn't know myself.
Yeah.
And so I would try and like have a personality or my identity in other things like friends, relationships, like celebrities, idols, and things like that. And I remember it get to a point where it'd be like I'd be on the game with my guys, and it'd be like, you know, chit chatting and all this, and it'd be great. But it's like the second we all logged off for the night, I was like instant like just dissatisfaction. because I had no idea how to act.
That's right.
And I do this in relationships too. And at one point, it got so bad where like I was in this like 3-year relationship with this girl in high school. Like it was going great, but my identity was in that like so bad to the point where like outside of my relationship with that girl, I had no idea who I was. And so got to a point where it got really rough, and it was like we would talk almost every minute of every day on the phone and whatnot. And then at one point, like on her side, she just went like completely like radio silent and like just dead silence. And like with my identity being in that, like freaked out, like anxiety came in like a truck, panic attacks, this is that and the third. And it was so bad, and it was like I'd start overthinking everything. And it was like it got so bad to one point, like the only thing I felt like that would stop, I guess, like the overthinking and the thoughts would be like ultimately hurting myself, like cutting myself. And so somehow got past that, and really only got past that through my parents, because I ultimately told them I really didn't want to, but like, dude, at that point it was so hard not to like break down whenever anyone asked, "Hey, are you okay?" Yeah. So got past that, got like, professional help, like thank God and everything. But like even after that, I would still have issues with like my identity putting into things, like friendships and whatnot. And so really the only time I ever really got out of that and really found out who I was, like, was through Jesus. And like thank God for like my community I have, like with young adults and even friends like y'all, because like I feel like one thing a lot of people struggle with is like they want to go to church and have like community in church and like maybe even go to like a youth or like a young adults thing outside of it, but like beyond that in their own personal lives with friends they're like in their friend group, like it's not that Christ-centered like faithfulness. And I felt like if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be here today. If anyone was like, "Hey, you want to do a podcast?" I'm like, "No, I want to do it about God." No,
I don't think that's
no. I am not the person for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I love it so much, and just like thank God for that. And I guess one scripture I have to share with that is like Galatians 2:20. I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. So I live through Christ, and that's how I found my identity and how I was. And I'm so confident that now that like I don't struggle with putting my identity in anything else. And so just living through him and by him for the rest of my life, and just in every single step of the day, I'm going to struggle. But having something like this with accountability and community and friends, that's going to like, help me and me help them as well. Like that's just how I'm going to, be able to live life.
Well, see, that's what, when I first got saved and really started taking my walk with Jesus serious, that was my biggest thing. I thought I was going to do it all by myself. And I can tell you, I struggled for a long time trying to do that. No. But yeah, that's powerful. The fact that you overcame that, that's incredible. Because most people don't.
Because there's so many people in this world that deal with situations like that. I'd
That's
like
what
to
I'm
ask
saying.
you-
I'm so thankful, like, because it was like, for one, it was my parents that got me through that, because they were the one that helped me get to professional help, and some people don't even have, that segue into that. And then being able to find like a community that helps me even after all of that, it's amazing. But I feel like that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this, was because I feel like some people don't have that, and this could be like their gateway into something that like gives them that. Because it's very rare to come across a community or even one friend that'll help you get closer to God instead of you doing it on your own.
It's hard to open up terribly when you're struggling too. I mean, that's the big thing. You want the truth.
And us as men, we don't like we're
No.
struggling. We like to get it done. I know there's a lot of things that go on in my life that I know I need help for, but I don't want to ask help for it because I don't want the people in my life to know.
Yeah, you go to your brother, like,
what's
going on, brother? Oh, I'm good. I'm straight. Yeah. And you're like, no.
You walk by someone on the street or something like that, they'd be like, you haven't seen them in a long time. They ask you, "Oh, how you doing? How's everything going?" Good. But deep down inside, it's not good. You want to be able to tell that person.
That was the thing too, with like putting my identity in something else. It was so hard to ask for help because I felt like I didn't even know how to like exist this, to be honest.
Yeah.
I would just sit there and I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not with my friend, I'm not with my girlfriend, I'm not with whoever to like basically copy and paste their identity or their how they are to like kind of be friendly with them. It was like I have to be there.
I get that. Totally. Like when you were going through those times, what were you putting your faith into? Like what were you relying on?
I guess like the ideologies I grew up with in church, like I guess having that hope that like even though this life does suck, there is something that's beyond that that's like the greatest thing ever. And I mean, I just see that in a lot of things. I mean, funny enough, like this is gonna be so weird. Like I love Spider-Man.
Oh no,
But I feel like he
We could have a whole
I'm telling you.
podcast just about Spider-Man.
No,
You think I'm being
too, but I feel like he just encompasses like being humble and like, well, like I said, humble, but like also trying to like be so good at the same time, even though like he struggles all the time.
Yep.
And that was something I really looked up to as a kid, and like I could see like, I guess in a way like I guess some. And so I would kind of live by that sometimes, but it's not just that. Like like the only way I got to where I am now is like Jesus Christ.
Absolutely.
And it's like, you know, that Spider-Man's just being a good person. Jesus Christ is about like something
Perfection.
completely
Yeah,
exactly. It's something
That's
completely.
salvation there.
Yeah. I don't even know how to just segue Spider-Man into this conversation.
Oh, so you can segue
Hey, I
Spider-Man.
think we could really bring in Spider-Man in almost every single
Yeah, I was about to say, you can segue Spider-Man.
I think we could.
Spider-Man in every single episode.
Yeah, that's our
I
Easter
think we
egg.
could. Like, we can have like a superhero episode and talk about like how Christ goes with the superhero, but
That'd be
not like saying
The
like
different aspects of
That's
Christ.
right.
yeah,
That's
not
right.
saying like Christ is he is.
Not
the
saying Spider-Man
ultimate
is
He
Christ.
is the
Yeah.
superhero.
Yes.
How about that?
He's superhero. Oh,
It's kind of valid. Yeah, I like that. Oh, wow.
We can get a poster of Spider-Man.
That's
Stick
right.
him up there. Not on the cross, but like, you know.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
you value Spider-Man more than our Lord and Savior.
No, he's gonna go upon the cross. His second
That's
ring.
right.
Yes.
His second ring.
I need that AI picture of Spider-Man framed to the altar.
That's dope.
Well, if y'all don't mind me picking up, I'd like to go into my testimony.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, like, I'd say my testimony first started out with me. I was always in the church. Had great parents that raised me right, always in the church every single Sunday. But I feel like my testimony really started off. I went to a smaller private school throughout high school. So I knew most of the kids going there. We were a Christian private school, so it was okay to talk about
I knew everybody.
It was okay to talk about the Lord. At most of these schools, I know probably some of y'all went to, you weren't able to talk about the Lord. But it was okay to talk about the Lord. So throughout high school, I was always the guy that everybody went to with problems, like, let's go see Davis. I feel like he can help me out. And a lot of times I felt like I had a lot of pressure on me, and I didn't know what to do with that pressure. So I felt like sometimes I really wasn't going to the Lord. I wasn't talking to him. But I knew that that pressure was from the ways of the world. It wasn't God telling me, putting all this pressure on me to where I couldn't handle it. He was wanting me to be able to help these people. So throughout high school, I really relied on sports. I was always playing sports. Sports took up a lot of my time. And I didn't want my image to be me in sports. I wanted it to be me in Christ. But I felt like throughout high school, a lot of people looked at me as just a sporty type of guy. Like a lot of people didn't look at
What
me
you
as
betting on?
a lot of people didn't look at me as he's living for Christ. Yeah. So I really wanted to be that type of person, but I wasn't falling in between those lines. So throughout high school, I had a good sporting career, everything was good, but I felt like just something wasn't right in life. And something with the Lord wasn't right. And I felt like I was being called to more. I just didn't know what it was at the time. So I got the opportunity to play baseball in college. Get in college, and my freshman year, I really wasn't fitting in to start out with. It's college. You don't know half the people there. I'm coming from a small school that I knew almost every single one there. So I felt like a big fish in a small pond. A small fish in a big pond.
Yeah.
But you'll know what I mean. So I get there and meet some of the freshmen, meet some of the guys on the team, and me throughout high school, I wasn't the type of guy that went out and partied with all the other teammates or anything like that. That just wasn't my thing. And I really didn't get invited to that. So a lot of times a lot of guys would come back from the weekend to class and talk about like, hey, what'd you think about at this party and all this stuff? And I had no clue what they were talking about. So a lot of times I felt like I was being left out. So sometimes I felt like I was alone, but I knew I really wasn't alone. I knew that the Lord was with me. I knew He didn't want me to go down that route. But throughout my freshman year in college, I started hanging around the wrong type of people that I really shouldn't have been centering myself around. Nothing against those people, but I was starting to feel like, hey, I can make a new identity of myself since most of these people here don't know who I am.
Yeah.
So my freshman and kind of midway through my sophomore year, I'd say I started going out, I started partying, and not like anything crazy or anything like that, but I knew that wasn't right. Every time I went out, I knew I shouldn't have been doing that. I was thinking to myself, how would other people look at me? People that knew me a few years ago knew that I didn't do stuff like that, and they look at me now.
But you did that to like fit in.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was doing it to fit in because I felt like I really didn't know who I was at the time. I didn't know what I wanted. So luckily the Lord came down and He called me and told me that He didn't want me doing that. I'll never forget, we went to Passion Conference in 2024. If y'all ever get a chance to go to that, please go to that. Hope we get to take see what I did. But we went to Passion Conference one year, and I'll never forget, like, just all the messages from these amazing ministers and amazing people in their faith. And just hearing these testimonies from these people was just amazing. And that night, I remember recommitting my life to the Lord. Like, it was just me just talking to the Lord, and I really felt like His Spirit over me. I had been saved before. Early in my high school career, I was saved, but I felt like I wasn't living for the Lord. And really, it was a perfect timing for me to go. Like, it was like everything hit me right there. And I feel like really ever since that day, I've been just trying to pick up my cross and carry it for me. Because I know that my identity is in Him. It's not in how other people view me.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I felt like that's really what I was struggling a lot with, like how other people view me and disbelief in myself, I'd say. And like a really big verse that I looked up that talks about like our stories is 2 Corinthians 5:17 through 14. It says, therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old has gone, the new is here. All is from God to reconcile us to Him through Christ and gave us the ministry of reconciliation. That God was reconciling the world to Himself in Christ, not counting people's sins against them, and He has committed to us the message of reconciliation. That really made a big difference into me when I read those words, is that there's no sin in this world that we can commit that God can't forgive us of.
That's right.
I felt like every time I'd sinned, that the Lord couldn't forgive me of it, because every time I did it, I felt like I was falling back into those same habits. But I knew deep down inside that's not what I needed to be doing. So He really changed me, and I'm very thankful for that.
Do you think you felt like He couldn't forgive you because you couldn't forgive yourself in a way?
Yeah.
I feel like I used to struggle with that a lot too. It'd be like you said, like doing things I knew wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
Like something I didn't really mention in my testimony, but I guess could be a part of it is like the drinking or like smoking or like any type of any type of like pornography, stuff like that. Like I knew it wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
Well, my flesh was like, bro, this is amazing. I want to do this all the time. But it was like the gratification of like doing it, and it was like good, but only for like a second.
Yeah.
And then but that repeated like I guess addictive behavior, and I knew it was wrong. And then I felt like for a while like I wasn't gonna be able to come back from that because I couldn't forgive myself. So I was like, how can God like forgive me? You know.
Yeah.
But I feel like once you get to that point where, like you said, you kind of have your identity in Him, knowing that like it's a constant struggle.
Yeah.
But being able to like pray all the time, read His Word, and like knowing that you are saved. Exactly. Have a relationship with Him, knowing that you are saved and He loves you. He just wants you at the end of the day. Then it just helps wipe your slate clean.
Very much so. I thought of this verse while you was talking. It hit my mind. Galatians 1:10. It says, am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or of God? Am I trying to please people? If I was still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ.
It's a great thing.
And when you was saying that you were just trying to fit in, I've been there. Like my whole life, been a people pleaser, been trying to just fit in. And I read that verse one day, and it completely changed the way I see just life in general.
Yeah.
There's no reason to change who God made you to be, to fit in with people that can't accept you.
I feel like everyone gets to a point, or at least I have, like when you get to a point in your faith where you feel like your full identity is in Christ, the question goes from, or like your word goes from how do other people view me to like how does God view me?
Absolutely.
And then once you get to that shift, you don't care how people view you anymore. As long as you know what you're doing is right through Christ, then you only worry about how He views you.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like so much anxiety and stress just comes away from you of trying to be like a people pleaser and trying to like do all these things and fit in.
Yeah, like for me at the beginning stage of going in ministry, I was kind of prideful. I was always like interested in what others had to say about me.
Yeah.
But like I knew that it was probably wrong, but if we're doing things and serving God for the approval of man, then we're never going to do it for the wrong reasons.
That's what Jesus talked about. I can't remember the verse right now, but when he said the scariest words that Jesus speaks, "Depart from me, for I never knew you." He's talking about that. He's saying people are coming up to him, "Lord, I did all this in your name. I prophesied in your name. I cast out demons in your name." It's
I don't know you.
Yeah, but like
What are you talking about?
you didn't do that for me.
No, yeah.
That may be the most terrifying thing that like the fear that I have is
yeah.
God not knowing me.
Getting there and he's like,
Yes.
who are you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, we do. We can have a whole episode talking about that, about like pride and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically, I'm thinking about the part, I guess, in Matthew, like kind of that last week of his life where he does the whole woe to you part, and like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
he goes off on the Pharisees.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, we should have a whole episode about what he's speaking to the Pharisees. Because his whole ministry was.
Dude, he's gangster.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Jesus is gangster.
That's the real OG right there. Y'all
Last
listen.
week of Jesus' life, one of my favorite stories or favorite things that happen is whenever he's flipping the tables in the temple.
That's it.
Because I always ask people, if Jesus was to look at your life right now, what tables would he flip? Because your body is more a temple.
I never really thought about it.
Yeah, that's a bar. Oh, yeah.
That's really good part. That's really good.
You know, when he was flipping tables and he made that whip, it took him a long time to make that whip.
Yeah.
He had to think about going in there and flipping the tables. That's what my struggle with. Just thinking before I acted.
Yeah.
I ain't got it. I ain't got it. I'm working on it.
And I think a big thing, like finishing up my testimony, is that I think the Lord has really led me to be able to minister with the youth. Because y'all know me, I'm big into my sport. I really love my sport. About to finish it up this semester. And I've been given the opportunity to be able to coach back baseball to these younger kids and be able to help them lead in their sport and their talents and growing. But I feel like the main key is that the Lord is leading me to preach to them. He's leading me to share my story, to learn their stories. I know they're younger guys, maybe they're in their early teens. So that's
right when
the
they hit
time
that
they're
puberty
starting to
age.
learn who Jesus is, I feel like. And that was a time in my life where I felt like I had a lot of questions. So I want those guys to really realize that I'm someone they can come and talk to about. And I'm very thankful that I get that.
And they'll remember a good coach for
Oh,
their
absolutely.
entire life.
Yeah.
I can tell you, coaches have changed my life more than most people.
Yes.
Genuinely.
I feel like I saw something that was like coaches and teachers make a big impact on
Oh,
their
yeah.
lives.
Oh, yeah.
Well, last but not least.
All right, so I want to preface my testimony by saying, first off, to God be the glory. It has nothing to do with me. That's right.
For all of these.
That's right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
This entire
And second,
podcast.
I'm truly grateful for everything that I went through to make me into who I am now. Genuinely.
Sure.
But just like y'all, I grew up in church. Grew up knowing the Lord, got baptized, got saved. And then when I was about 11, I'm prefaced by saying this. Love my daddy to death. Genuinely love my daddy to death. But he quit going to church. He got turned away from church. And just like any young man, you want to be like your dad. So I stopped going, stopped seeing the value in going to church. I'd still pray, but it was only when I needed something. So I fell in love with seeking attention in school, all of this, just people pleasing at a real young age. When I made it to the 7th grade, my grandma passed away on my birthday. She was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. I was the only person she remembered. And once she passed away, I just completely turned away from the Lord altogether. Knew him, but I didn't live for him, not even close. And then just kept living like that. Started smoking, started drinking, a lot. Had a lot. I had a lot that I was just trying to avoid. Was an angry kid. Always have been angry. Tried my hardest to get out of that, but and thank the Lord, I'm not angry no more. Say that, but I started smoking weed in ninth grade. Habitually, like if I wasn't high, I was looking to get high. Waking up, getting high, and it led to a lot of bad decisions. I sinned and all of this. I was broken, genuinely broken. Then when I got to my 11th grade year, my granddaddy passed away, and my daddy left without a trace in the exact same week. And that broke me to the point where I felt like I had the world on my back. I was the oldest kid. And while my father was there, he put us through a lot. He was angry like I was. He was the same person. We butt heads a lot. But once he was gone, I felt like everything was on me. I felt like it was up to me to take care of everybody. Yeah. And it led to depression and anxiety, panic attacks on every day. Would never tell anybody, would just leave, not do anything, angry at the world. Somebody said something to me, I was ready to burn this whole thing down. And then the end of my 11th grade year, I couldn't take it anymore. I tried to overdose. I tried to take my own life. I didn't tell anybody. Locked myself in my room, went to sleep, woke up, and thank the Lord that I'm still here today. I put it that way. But once I graduated high school, I continued to do all that. I kind of got a little bit better. Still was depressed. Still was anxious. I just couldn't deal with it. I stopped myself from trying it again because I couldn't deal with the thought of my mama not having her young, if that makes sense. I couldn't do that. So once I graduated, I tried to just leave everything, get away from everybody, and tried to join the Air Force. Was there a month, and I'll say I learned a lot about myself in a month. When you don't have a phone, you don't have any distractions, and you're stuck in a room. Because my first week there, I got hurt, and they sent me to a med hold, and you stay in that med hold until you go home. So you're literally sitting there staring at a wall. I mean, every now and then you had something to do, but you're literally just sitting there for your thoughts. You have other people there, but yeah, pretty much. So I learned a lot about myself, and I come home, and I thought I was going to make a change. I prayed while I was there, Lord, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it by myself. And for a few weeks I did, but coming back home to the same environment, to the same situations, it's rough to change when nothing around you changed. And I moved to Columbia beginning of last year on a journey to just better myself, learn as much as I can about the Lord, get away from it all. And I learned a lot about the Lord, but it wasn't a relationship. It was, let me get all this knowledge so that I feel closer to the Lord, kind of thing. I thought knowledge would be the way to get me to have salvation. Yeah. And that was, I say good for a little while because it actually had me focused on the Lord. Because I got ADHD. I don't know if y'all know that, but I'm ADHD. Distractions are the biggest thing that I struggle with. But, so for a long time, well, I say a long time, about 3 months, I was fully dedicated 100% in. And then started coming back home and drinking on the weekends and doing all of this, smoking. And I'll say this, I smoked every day for 7 years. all the time. And for a little while, I will say, I thought it was helpful. And then it just turned into, I don't know how to function without it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to be who I am without it. Moved home from Columbia and started going to church for job. Thanks to mostly, I'll be honest, mostly you. You've helped me out a lot. But
that's just the Lord.
absolutely. But I started coming to church, found a real community, was sitting in church one Sunday, and Holy Forever by Chris Tomlin was playing. And I don't know, that song made me cry. That song did do it. Just a powerful song. But Pastor Jay asked, he said, if you know the Lord, or if you've known the Lord, but you haven't been living for Him, you want to rededicate your life, now's the time to do it. And there's been a lot of times in my life where I've heard that, but I've been too scared to actually act on it. Kind of scared to walk up in front of people and do all of that. But I did. I raised my hand. I went and got rededicated. And then 2 weeks after that, we had the revival weekend. And I went to the altar for the first time in my life at that worship night. And I just dropped it all at the feet of the Lord. And I mean, bawling my eyes out. And since then, I can say I got baptized that Sunday. I felt more peace in my life after dropping it at the feet of the Lord than I've ever felt in my life. More peace than I ever thought I would feel. But really, if I had to sum my testimony up, it would be the Lord can take brokenness and put it together in ways you'll never see.
I feel like a big part of that was like you not the first time you started relying on Him and not trying to rely on yourself.
That's it.
That's really what I found.
Yes. And we just
That is
appreciate
power.
being able to talk about that. Like, if that doesn't tell you our God works in our lives, I don't know what does. And if there's someone out there that may be listening to this and could be dealing with stuff like that, this is a powerful story right here. This man has went through it all. He's experienced it all, and he's given his life to the Lord, and he's living for Him today. I know he's on fire. I know he's on fire because I knew that type of guy then. And this type of man right here is on fire for the Lord.
Absolutely. We can have an entire series on the revival weekend.
I'm telling you, that was powerful.
Dude,
Worship night, April what, 7th?
17th.
17th. Come
They
on out.
better sing Elohim.
Oh my God, this morning?
Yeah.
They sang that this morning. It was amazing.
They need to sing that.
April 17th, Compassion, Florence, South Carolina.
Yes.
Mark the calendars.
That's right.
Mark the
Please,
calendars, be ready.
Also, Easter at Compassion too.
That's right. April 4th. 6
Also,
o'clock,
we
April
didn't
5th,
we didn't have a preference, which we haven't. This is kind of an extension of Compassion Young Adults CYA.
Yeah.
It hasn't been made
Yeah,
official
it's
yet.
not official, but we're all in the
Unofficial,
group.
official.
So for now, it's just a shout out. Thanks.
Yeah.
But
but
for real, it's a real good community. Without it, I probably wouldn't be
me and you, but
sitting right here now.
it's made me realize community is one of the most important aspects and support system, like for anybody. And I have a friend in Florida who he's right now struggling to find that community, and it breaks my heart because I'm like, I wish I could just take our community
Just
and
take
put
it
it over
to you,
there,
yeah.
just copy and paste. But
Uh-huh.
he's like, dude, it's so hard to find people not only his age, but just to find a group in general. Because you got to think it's like you either got youth or you got like just older people in the church, and
You're
that's
going
it.
60-year-olds.
Yeah, after
Look, I'm all for it, but
but like
they can't relate to you.
no, and
You
it's
sit
like
there watching TikToks and they watching Fox News. I mean,
it's like
that's two
after
completely different things.
after 18, after you get to 18, it's like what do you do then? Because then, like you said, you go to college, you're on your own.
That's right.
It's like, bro, I feel like I have no direction in life. But it's
We're
like,
also at a point in our lives to where in the next few years, or it could be like recently, you've had to make big decisions.
Oh yeah.
Big decisions are coming up. And I feel like this time in our lives is a big time where we need to grow our faith in the Lord.
Absolutely.
It is monumental for you to rely on Him. Because in the next few months, I don't know where I'm going to be. Graduating college and everything, I don't know what God has in store for me, but I'm very excited to see what it is.
yeah, and like going off that, like I have no idea, but I know I'm good.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, I ain't worried about it.
yeah, I'm
And that's
not
the
worried
crazy
about it
part.
at all. Like I know his plan for me is like beyond my comprehension at all, and it's like once like living like that, dude, it's like bro, stress and anxiety. Like,
So-
I mean, I feel it every now and then, obviously, like because
Oh, well, that's just Let me tell you what I heard the other day. Something that blew my mind.
Go ahead.
Anxiety is just you let you know you think too much about the future.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's right.
when I heard that, I was like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Tenfold.
Seriously,
Let me go
like-
focus where I'm at.
Like, I feel like a lot of times we get into this mindset of thinking about the future.
Mm.
What do you have in your life right now that you can be thankful for? Think about what you have in your life now.
Well, yeah, that's like Master Uwe from
That's right.
Kung Fu Panda. It's like, what was it? Tomorrow's a mystery, yesterday's the past, but today is a gift.
That's a bar.
I'm loving how we're able to bring in these movies.
I know, I
I'm going
know.
to do it at the movie series.
Yes, where you just
Yes.
talk about,
Hey,
oh my god.
In the comments below, y'all put in what we think we should come up with for a new series. Like,
Or
what
video
would y'all
ideas.
like to hear us talk
Or if
about?
you just know us in person, just
Yeah.
come to us and tell us.
Yes, just come and tell us.
Comments work too.
we like to see those.
But
By the way, are we still recording? Just making sure. Okay, just making sure.
I mean, I had a good time either way.
I was about to say we had a good conversation.
But I feel like kind of get to like the closing point, like why are we doing this? Kind of mentioned it earlier. I feel like we all kind of mentioned it in some aspect. It's like, for me personally, I feel like people don't have this type of community. Like, if you ask someone, they probably wouldn't know someone else they could do something like this with, and that's very rare. And I feel like not only sometimes people can take that for granted, but people sometimes do the opposite. Where like they either can't find it or they do have it and they don't take it for granted because maybe they're scared, like they compare themselves a lot. Like I remember for me, a lot of times I would compare myself to Davis, not in like a bad way, but I'd be like, wow, something I struggle with too was weed, and like every now and then I'd like smoke weed and like I'd hang out with Davis and I'm like, bro, this dude's like,
Oh yeah,
sharp
he
as
did
a
it to me
button.
too.
Yeah,
He
he's
did
sharp
it
as
to
a
me
button.
too.
This dude does nothing, but still like
I have my own struggle.
he's like, you know what I mean though. Like everyone struggles with comparison, but I'm just like, dang, bro, and I'm just like, and then it would kind of make me scared to do something like Young Adults because I'm like, I don't deserve to go. To
That's
something
right.
like
And
that.
I can tell you that's why I started going to church with y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Because I felt like everywhere I went around where I live, people were looking at me for stuff I did.
Mm-hmm.
Or stuff that they know I do. Or stuff like that. And I couldn't
Like,
go sit in church and be judged.
It's good sometimes.
And that's an episode coming to judgment in church. But we'll get right there. That's later on. But no, I can tell you, like you said, I started posting TikToks recently. And I mean, y'all know that. But the amount of people.
They're so good.
But no, just the amount of people that have texted me and just told me that I've helped them already. That's the only, I mean, that I never thought the Lord would be able to use me like that. That just shows you can use anything. Use anybody.
This podcast isn't so we can talk about like
Ourselves.
what we're
Yeah,
not
no.
here to talk about ourselves. This first episode was us to give our story to you
Just so
guys,
you have some
so you
background.
will know like what we're about, what we're standing for.
And maybe relate to us.
If this podcast doesn't reach anybody, I just hope it hits one person's
That's
heart.
it.
I just hope it leads one person to go to the Lord. If they're struggling with whatever may be going on in their lives, they're able to go and talk to someone or just give it to Jesus.
That's what I'm saying. Just give them like a little taste of what actual like community feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like we all have like led ones as we all have God-shaped hole in our heart. But it's like, do you actually like can consistently get into something like that through a community, through someone else, not only yourself, because like you said, through your testimony, not relying on yourself and relying on God and also other people. That's when you can finally take that next step and actually get into your faith.
Yes, I love that.
And then we can have a whole other conversation about how salvation starts today because tomorrow's not guaranteed.
No, it's not. No day's guaranteed.
But yeah, that's kind of why I was like, yo, I'm down to do something.
Well, when I like mentioned a podcast to start out with, y'all were like, podcast? Like, huh? Because I mentioned it to Parson at one of our Wednesday morning breakfasts. He was like, dude, to think about it, I've actually done a podcast before. So I've been like so down.
You did a podcast?
Yeah, we just changed names.
Yeah.
I was Barabbas, but now it's like.
I just got that tattooed on my leg.
So
I am Barabbas. I just got that tattooed on my leg.
that ain't the Lord right there.
I'm telling you.
Wow.
Now I gotta get life fiance.
Get it on my forehead.
Also,
Dedication.
we will be coming out with social media platforms. Go follow us.
We
Go
do
check
have an
us out.
Instagram, by the way.
Yes, we do have an Instagram. There's videos below of Parson talking. That was Parson's old Instagram. But still check those out though.
Yeah.
Check those out.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're still there. Like,
Yeah, no, we're not going to take them off. No.
anything, it's just
Also, eventually, like maybe in like 10 episodes, we will have special guests be involved.
Oh, yeah.
Interview them and stuff. But we're just getting
but
started.
next week we're just gonna have like a small guest like Bryce Crawford.
Yeah, just something
He'll come out.
simple.
He'll come out, and then the week after we got Anthony Mitchell.
That's right, yeah.
Just just something slight, just to like get us
I'm
going.
glad our agent could make it happen.
Hey, if y'all are listening out there, we'd love to have you guys.
Yeah, for real.
I know you may not be, but that's okay.
Hey, you never know.
I'm gonna add you. I'm gonna post a TikTok tonight. I'm gonna add you probably
Hey,
1,000
we can
times.
always DM them.
Hey, shoot or shoot.
I'm saying.
That's what
I'm saying. I was a hooper.
How's that quote go? It's like every shot you don't take, you miss.
That's
but
it.
Yeah.
Every shot you don't take.
I'm
You
shooting.
can't miss unless you don't shoot.
That's right.
You gotta be shooting for shots.
Just
You're right. Shooters don't shoot.
That's right.
Just oh my god.
Hey, well, fellas, I really appreciate each and every single one of you being able to
yes,
share
sir.
your testimonies. And I feel like each one of our testimonies has a different story to it. It's all powerful.
And
It's all different, but has the same.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I don't want it to have the impact of comparing because, like,
Yeah.
I feel like one thing I also did kind of early on was like trying to compare, I guess, my own story to other people. So I was like,
Yeah.
I have no reason to share it. Everyone's has
Yeah.
a testimony to share, but I was like, I have no reason to share a testimony. Mine's like so vanilla.
I go
It
back.
like wouldn't even inspire anybody, and then but it's like it's the opposite of that. Like you said earlier, like a relationship with Christ is so personal. Everyone's story is going to be different. It's going to impact someone.
It is.
It just, are you willing to share it for that extra step or not?
I think me and you talked about that too the other day when I called you. You said something about your testimony.
I was saying how my testimony isn't that powerful. It's very basic.
Yeah. And I told you, I said, boom, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Literally, you saying that helped me be able to like get over that fear of not being able to share my testimony. Because I feel like mine's just so basic, but you being able to tell me that, I never really heard it from myself.
I would say it's kind of in a way of like,
Absolutely.
you opening a door for somebody or just being nice to somebody, you have no idea. Like, it's like second nature to me, but it could be like the biggest impact on somebody. You just won't ever know until you just
Love is the most powerful thing that we have. I don't care what nobody says.
Mm-hmm.
But, no, and if you do know us and you feel led to talk, please come to any of us.
We're not some big bad men. We're literally like just some college broke students.
That's right.
And we're just normal people
We're just want to share the
who
word.
just wanted to talk on a recording.
That's right. We just want to record ourselves.
Yeah.
We just wanted to put some lights in front of us, look all cool, but at the end of the day, like, you can definitely like,
We all can have struggles.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I guess last question. And I guess whoever finishes talking will wrap it up. But like, why did y'all want to start the podcast other than just wanting to talk?
I'd say I want to start a podcast. I've been praying a lot recently. Lord, lead me to how you want me to share your word. What is that way? And I feel like recently I haven't been able to find that. And I feel like with this podcast, I'm going to be able to share more of my background and be able to share more of like my testimony to the Lord.
Yeah.
Be able to grow. I feel like this is helping me grow stronger in Him and also being able for me to give my experiences.
So you think it's that and like also the accountability as well?
That's
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
Because I guess some background, you also came in the very last second.
Yeah. Well,
As in
that's
like
like
last
last
week.
yeah. Well,
So if you want to talk about that,
well, I'll tell you, I was really wanting to do a podcast, and I did not want to do it by myself. Like
Yeah.
sitting there looking at the camera talking
Hey,
for 30
doing it
minutes.
by yourself is pretty hard.
I'm saying, them a minute and a half TikToks I do. I struggle with them.
It's only been 30 seconds.
I'm telling you, bro, I got 5 more seconds. But no, and then Davis brought it up. Me and him were just talking about the TikTok that I did post. And he said, we about to start a podcast. And I said, you start it. I said, you for real? He said, yeah. I said, you think I can do it? He said, yeah, I'll answer. I was like, okay. And just recently, though, you know how when you first get saved, well, at least for me, my first thought's always preacher. Preach the word. Just go and
Like
and-
sharing that feeling
That's
with
right.
somebody else.
And not to brag on myself at all, but I've been told my whole life, and I've always gone about it as I'm a leader. You know what I'm saying? Just, and I've always had to lead people, stuff like that. But I don't see, I see more so spreading the gospel this way than I do standing on the stage.
Yeah.
Because like this is still a personal thing.
Oh, yeah.
Standing on the stage, I could get arrogant or something like that, and I know me, and I don't want to put myself.
My knees start shaking.
So that's what I'm saying. But sitting there looking at people look at me, that's I don't want to put myself in situations where I can be led in the wrong
I
path.
feel like something like this, especially with a good group of guys that you are comfortable with, is probably the most comfortable way to outwardly speak.
Absolutely, absolutely. Y'all know how nervous I was when I said that.
Yeah.
I told everyone.
He was like,
Yeah. I said, bro,
I
I'm
think
for real
we
scared.
were all. I'm still a little nervous right now, but I mean, I feel a lot better than like
I was
standing
saying,
up in the middle of class, being like, "This is my presentation."
Can't wait to see where this takes off.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see.
We're already an hour to our first episode.
Wow, has it been an hour?
Wow.
Almost an hour.
It's a little special episode.
That's right. First one. That's right.
It was supposed to be 30 minutes.
Oh, that's
We went over.
There's no time limit on the level price.
We met to
Hey,
start
man,
off.
bro. Talk to me.
I love that. When we met to start off with, we talked about like what was the time frame we wanted to do. We were like 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Impossible.
No way.
Yeah, wait till you get talking.
Yeah, no,
That's
wait.
right. I'm telling you.
All
That
right,
may be a little longer, but
Let's
somebody
wrap
want to
this
sound
up.
so.
Let's wrap this up. Why did
Carson?
you want to start the podcast? Other than just having the equipment and doing it before? What made this one different than the one you did before?
Well, I did have a podcast before, and it just felt weird because it was just me.
Mm.
But like being here with you all just is so much better because we can relate to each other. We can relate to not just to all of us, but to them that are listening and watching us. So say, hey, we are struggling too. Even though that we do have a podcast, we are still struggling, and we're all sinners, and we have been saved by the blood. Absolutely. So, yeah,
That's right. That's right.
And you, I'm about to say, you got to talk about it now too, though.
What you mean? I was the first one that
Yeah,
did.
it was the first
That's
one.
fine. Okay, I'll wrap it up.
pray us out.
You want to pray us out?
I'll say this. I feel like especially to the young adult generation, 18 going to like 30, it's so important to have some like this foundation in Christ so early on.
Yeah.
Because the next thing you know, you can blink and you can be married, have kids, and your foundation can be like absolutely crap. And then you'll be wondering why you're struggling in every single aspect of your life. But having that foundation through God and knowing like you're going to be okay no matter what comes your way, whether it's a relative getting diagnosed with cancer, having all of a sudden getting panic attacks, anxiety attacks, wanting to hurt yourself, and drugs, wanting to like end your life, stuff like that, and like having all this pressure on you, all these things you struggle with. We found Christ through all of that, and He's our foundation now, and we're saying like we're okay now. We've gone from that. So just being able to spread that and knowing like no matter what anyone's gone through, like you're going to be okay as long as you put your trust in Christ. So anyway, person who prays.
You got this.
Okay, all right. Let's pray us out. All right. Thank you, Lord, for this time together, for this fellowship, for having this even happen, the amount of doors you opened for all of us to be here today, and for this to even happen, for us to spread our testimony. It's just amazing, and I just love you so much, God. I pray that this can reach even just one person, and I'll also just have a good time together and learn from each other and be able to have some accountability, Lord. Again, thank you so much. In Jesus' name, we all say amen.
Amen.
I just want to say before we quit recording, I don't like the fact that all y'all wearing sneakers and I'm wearing boots. I'm wearing my dunks. That's right.
At least we'll wear pants.
That's right.
Hey,
Let's make this feel good.
Exactly.
Oh, look, we ain't even that good. Like,
We need an episode where we're in the kiddie pool and we're all just wearing swimsuits. That was Davis's
can't wait for
idea.
that.
That
Can't wait for that.
was Davis's idea.
It's going to be a summer edition.
He was
With
like,
live
he was like,
events on there.
he was like, what did we wear this first episode? I was like, clothes.
he was like, well, I knew that, but like, what? What's that
For our
attire?
next
Hey.
episode, we'll be in the water at the beach.
Okay.
The
Next episode?
Next episode.
Next-
Okay,
Hey, if you
bud.
want to see that, comment down below if you want to see that.
Not
I wanna
next
see-
episode.
I want to see if he goes through on that.
That's right. Matter of fact, yeah, we're gonna make
If
you.
we get a donation of $5. No, we need like a light goal to do that. But and then the episode after that will be all like tailored and like
Oh yeah.
Suit and
So,
tie.
yeah.
suit and tie.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
dressed up.
Professional.
Anyway.
Well, thank y'all for listening. We appreciate it.
Of course.
Peace.
Much love.